Wrapping this all up, this No Backboard Basketball League, it really feels like it's way more than just taking the backboard off. They've built this whole ecosystem around a new way to train and play, yeah, but also around content creation, athlete empowerment via NIL, and very deliberately tying it all into these emerging sports and Web3 tech trends, even building their own tech layer underneath.
Exactly. The no backboard hook gets you in the door, but the real substance seems to be in that interconnected system. The training feeds the content sells product and boosts athletes bring in NIL deals and more attention, the community grows. And it's all underpinned by this forward-looking tech strategy, leveraging Web3 concepts.
That we get back to talking about this community, because I think that's one way, and that I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, it may be the tagline you use there, if you change the game, change the community.
I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker. I'm the game changer, the mover, the shaker. With every basket, I'm a community maker.
Great question. So, the No Backboard Basketball League, the vision of it is a new recreational basketball platform to provide opportunities for Black and brown individuals to actually own wealth creating assets in the sports space.
You sometimes stumble across these ideas that just make you pause and go, huh. That was definitely my reaction when we started looking into this material you sent about the No Backboard Basketball League. I mean, basketball without a backboard. It just sounds kind of wrong, doesn't it? But then digging in, you realize it's actually, well, a lot more than just taking away a piece of the court. They've got this thing, the U-hoop, right? Their own patented no backboard hoop. And that seems to be the launch pad for this whole different take on basketball and the business side of it, too.
It is. And what's really interesting, I think, from the get-go is how layered their vision seems to be. Sure, the no backboard thing, that's the hook.
Yeah.
The unique selling point definitely catches your ear. But when you look a bit closer, it looks like there's a pretty strategic business model behind it, one that's really trying to tap into some big shifts happening in sports right now, especially with tech and how athletes connect with fans.
Absolutely. Yeah, the docs gave us a pretty good window into, well, some ambitious plans. Their main mission, like they stated, is creating the best developmental experience using these no backboard basketball training gyms, all built around their U-hoop. And they're not just saying it might help your game, they call it training sport value. Like, they're arguing it actively makes you better at regular basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack that. How does not having a backboard actually help you when you do have one?
Well, their thinking seems to boil down to forcing precision, amplified focus maybe. Without that backboard as a secondary target or a crutch for bank shots, players have to focus purely on the arc, on hitting the center of the rim. The idea is that this intense focus on the pure shooting mechanics builds better muscle memory, better accuracy overall. Accuracy that then translates back when the backboard is there. It's kind of like practicing aiming at a smaller bullseye. It just sharpens everything up.
Okay. Yeah, that actually makes intuitive sense. It's like those shooting aids that narrow the target area, forcing you to really dial in the shot. And the NBBL, they're not just thinking about these gyms in isolation, are they? They're planning this showcase gym. They call it their most valuable prototype MVP. So it's basically a real-world lab to test the whole concept, the training, the business model, everything.
Exactly. A proof of concept in the wild.
Okay.
And this showcase gym, it's meant to be more than just a place to shoot hoops. It's the hub, the center of what they're describing as a hybrid business model. So blending the physical, the actual gym, with a pretty big digital side, online content, selling merch, and then, eventually more gyms. If you look at the big picture, it's about building a whole connected system, not just one gym.
And this system, it feels like it's built on this really direct statement they make. We sell attention. I found that really interesting. It's so upfront about where the value is today, right? It's not just selling gym memberships or even the U-hoops themselves. It's about grabbing and then, well, monetizing people's focus. That shift, from just product to attention, that feels like a big change a lot of older sports businesses are still figuring out.
That's a really key point. They get that attention as, well, the currency in the digital age. So by creating something unique and hopefully engaging with no backboard ball, the main goal is capture that attention first. and then channel it into all these different ways to make money.
Which brings us nicely to their content factory idea. This sounds like a really core part of the whole machine. The plan, as I understand it, is to basically crowdsource content, take videos and stuff that people using YouHoops create, and then push it out, monetize it across their own channels, turning users into like a distributed marketing team.
Exactly. And what's interesting there is the scalability, right? By getting the community to make the content, they're essentially outsourcing a huge chunk of marketing creation. And that user content becomes this powerful tool to sell more YouHoops, sell memberships, sell t-shirts, all while building up this whole no backboard basketball vibe or culture.
And the numbers they're throwing around for this aren't small. They're talking over 15,000 videos in 18 months, aiming for, over 22.5 million views, and projecting merchandise sales over $1.4 million. That's a serious engine they want to build. And how they define this content factory, a streamlined system, targeted marketing content, boosting sales via social and personalized marketing. It's very intentional.
It is very intentional. And it really highlights how marketing's evolving, doesn't it? Instead of just, buying ads, they're building a community using those authentic user stories to push the brand.
Yeah.
That kind of organic approach, it can be way more effective, way more impactful sometimes.
Okay. Another really fascinating angle here is how they're weaving in NIL, name, image, likeness for the athletes. They're saying their NBBL content will drive traffic, grow audiences, and really boost the personal brands of these NIL athletes. And they've even set up their own integrated NIL agency to help athletes get deals and basically become NBBL ambassadors.
Yeah, and this is where that we sell attention idea really clicks into place, by making cool content featuring these athletes. They're not just pushing NBBL, they're making the athletes themselves more visible, more marketable. It becomes this kind of symbiotic relationship. The athletes get exposure, maybe sponsorship deals, and NBBL gets authentic marketing, plus more credibility for the whole concept.
They've set a target, right? Supporting 40 ambassadors, mixing high school players and street ballers, and aiming to pull in, $800,000 in sponsorships for them over 18 months. That's pretty significant support. They call this the content factory synergy. Content boosts athletes. Athletes attract NIL deals and content drive product sales. It's a loop.
Exactly. It's all designed to feed into itself. The content isn't just an ad. It's building the athlete's brand. That makes them more appealing to sponsors. Those sponsors then lend more legitimacy to NBBL, attracting more attention, and so on. It's a flywheel.
So let's zoom out a bit. What's the market they're actually trying to break into here, and who are they up against? The numbers they mention are big. Youth sports globally, almost $78 billion by 2026. Sports coaching, already billions. And then this NIL market, which everyone expects to just explode. Their NIL agency seems like a pretty smart way to get a piece of that action.
I think their assessment lines up with what we're seeing generally. The demand for youth sports, for specialized training, and definitely now for athlete branding and ways for them to earn money. It's all growing fast. And having that NIL agency built in gives them a direct route into that part of the market.
They also talked a bit about how basketball gyms have changed over time, from basic multi-use places to private trainers, now these bigger specialized basketball facilities. And they position NBBL differently from current players like, say, DBAT, which is baseball, or Shoot 360, which is heavy on the tech and gamified training, or Pickup USA, which seems more focused on organized games in a gym setting. So what makes NBBL truly different from those?
I think it's the deliberate combination of things. That's what stands out. While others might focus mainly on the training facility or the games, NBBL is uniquely integrating the No Backboard training itself, plus this heavy focus on producing their own branded content and the dedicated NIL agency. It feels like a more holistic, interconnected approach. They're sort of carving out a very specific space by blending training innovation with athlete empowerment and media creation in a way the others don't seem to be doing, at least not altogether.
Yeah, they really hammer that unique positioning and the NIL agency advantage. Pointing to that projected $800 in sponsorships as a key difference maker, it sounds like they see their integrated NIL piece as a major competitive edge.
That's exactly it. The agency isn't just like a side hustle for them. It's woven right into the core business model. It fuels content, pulls athletes in, creates its own revenue. This sort of multi-pronged strategy is what makes them different and what's becoming a pretty crowded space.
Okay, now this is where, for me anyway, it gets really interesting. They start talking about aligning with Web3 trends. They even name drop Andrew Petcash and his Profluence community folks who are deep in that sports Web3 intersection. And they did this whole mapping exercise across 18 different emerging trend categories categories. That's a lot of trends.
It's a very thorough analysis, yeah. And it really shows they're thinking ahead, trying to future-proof this thing. By looking hard at all these trends, they're trying to position themselves not just for today, but as, innovators leading the way.
They broke it down into hot, warm, and lukewarm alignments. Let's maybe hit some of those hot ones first. Alternative leagues and niche sports. They see their whole basketball the remix idea fitting right in here. Faster games, 3v3, 4v4, no backboards.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
We're definitely seeing an appetite for different sports formats, niche competitions, things that offer a different kind of viewing or playing experience.
Yeah.
By tweaking traditional basketball like this, making it faster, different, they could tap into an audience looking for something new.
Okay, next hot one. Short-form content and highlight culture.
Yeah.
They've apparently designed the games themselves to be super shareable. Short games, continuous play, perfect for TikTok, Reels, that kind of thing. This links straight back to the content factory, right?
Absolutely. It's smart design. They know short, punchy video is king online right now. So bake shareability into the game format itself. That just maximizes the chances for stuff to go viral organically.
Athlete-centered media and NIL, also hot. Here they mention built-in NIL, money-making opportunities, and even athletes owning media rights via these things called ballers tokens.
Okay, ballers tokens sounds like some kind of digital asset, maybe like a unique blockchain thing representing the athlete's stake.
Could be. It definitely signals they're empowering athletes beyond just standard NIL deals, letting them potentially own a piece of their own content, their brand, through these digital tokens. That's very much in line with where things are heading, giving athletes more control.
Creator economy and UGC, user-generated content, another hot one. Players, fans, making, and maybe even monetizing their own content using NBBL footage. Again, it really leans into the community aspect.
Exactly, fostering a whole creator ecosystem around NBBL. It taps into this huge pool of potential content and makes the community active participants in growing the brand.
Then we get into tokenization and digital assets, NFTs, these soul-bound baller tokens, and something called JONBE token economics. Okay, now we're definitely in Web3 territory. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, those unique digital collectibles. Yeah, this shows a real belief in blockchain's potential to create new kinds of value and interaction in their world. NFTs could be digital merch, maybe unique highlights. Soul-bound tokens, those are usually non-transferable, so maybe they represent a player's verified identity or achievements in the league. And the JONBE token, well, they don't spell out the full economics here, but you can imagine it being used for rewards, maybe voting, access within their system.
Which leads to another hot one, community ownership and governance. The idea of fans and athletes actually owning gyms, making decisions via token voting. That's pretty different from how the NBA is run.
It is radical, yeah.
Yeah.
But it taps into this push towards more decentralized, community-led models, giving fans and players actual skin in the game, a say in how things are run. They could build incredibly strong loyalty and engagement, theoretically.
And the last hot one listed is fan engagement and gamification. Things like watch to earn, learn to earn, fans rating content, using tokens for special access like this You Hooper Society. Sounds like they want being a fan to be much more interactive, more rewarding than just watching.
Exactly. Yeah. Moving beyond passive consumption. They're looking at ways to incentivize people to participate, to learn, to engage, and using tokens or digital rewards to do it.
Okay, so those were the hot ones. They also had warm and lukewarm. Warm included stuff like smart facilities and sports tech, AI and data, new funding models, sports marketplaces. Sounds like areas they see potential in, but maybe aren't the absolute core focus right now.
That seems likely. They probably recognize these are important, but maybe they're putting their initial energy into the hot stuff that synergizes most directly with the core concept. Like AI for game analysis is valuable long term, but first they need to generate the game footage via the league and content factory. So priorities.
And lukewarm, women's sports boom, sports betting, metaverse RVR, esports. Feels like these are maybe further down the road, things they haven't fully baked into the current plan yet, but could explore later.
Right. Could definitely be future expansion areas. For instance, while they seem gender neutral now, tapping into the huge growth in women's basketball is an obvious potential avenue later. Same with esports or VR, maybe not day one, but possibilities exist once the core physical league is established.
So why does aligning with all these Web3 trends actually matter for them? What's the payoff? They list a few reasons. Staying relevant, obviously. multiple revenue streams, building that strong community flywheel effect, maybe helping push Web3 adoption more broadly through sports, and just being ready for partnerships. It sounds like a big strategic bet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
By plugging into these growth areas, they boost their chances of attracting investment, partners, users, the whole package. It also diversifies how they can make money and potentially builds a more resilient business. And that community flywheel idea is crucial, where everyone involved, athletes, fans, creators, the business itself, all kind of feed energy into the system and benefit from it.
Now, you mentioned the picks and shovels idea earlier, like in a gold rush, selling the tools. They emphasize that NBBL isn't just a league. They're actually building some of the underlying tech infrastructure themselves. This feels really important, a key differentiator. They're not just using existing tools, they're creating new ones.
Yes, this is a critical point. They're not just playing a new game. They're building the tools that could potentially enable other new games or creator initiatives later on.
They talk about tokenized content licensing, using those baller tokens for athlete ID, smart contracts for payouts, a content hub with tiered access based in NFTs. It's like they're building their own little software stack for this new sports creator world.
Exactly. And that stack doesn't just run NBBL now. It potentially becomes a product itself. They could offer it as a white label service to other leagues, teams, maybe even individual athlete creators. That opens up a whole other business line beyond just basketball. They even hint at maybe launching their own blockchain eventually. Ambitious stuff.
Okay, let's touch on the money side quickly. Financial projections. For that first showcase gym, they're projecting, $3.5 million revenue in 18 months and about $162,000 profit. And they have some pretty eye-popping growth numbers projected for the years after that if they scale up.
Yeah, those projections certainly paint a picture of significant growth potential if the first gym works as planned. The jump in revenue and net income they forecast for years 2 to 4 is substantial, and that cumulative income figure over 3 years is definitely attention-grabbing. Obviously, projections are projections, things can change, but it shows the kind of scale they believe the model has.
They also broke down how they'd use an initial $500K investment, most going to the showcase gym build-out, some for the U-Hoop prototype, rest for operations. And they even talked potential ROI for expanding, like the first 20 gyms in 10 cities. Projecting a really high average annual ROI, quick break-even, fast path to positive cash flow.
Those targets definitely signal strong potential returns for early backers if they can replicate the model successfully in different places. Those short timelines they project for break-even and positive cash flow are particularly aggressive and, attractive to investors.
And they laid out the market size too. TAM, SAM, SOM. Total addressable, serviceable, obtainable market. Seems like they've thought through the scale of the opportunity from the big picture down to what they can realistically target initially.
Yes, quantifying it like that, from the huge global youth sports market down to the specific basketball training and NIL segments they're aiming for, helps make the case for why this isn't just a tiny niche play. It shows the room they see for growth.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, this No Backboard Basketball League, it really feels like it's way more than just taking the backboard off. They've built this whole ecosystem around a new way to train and play, but also around content creation, athlete empowerment via NIL, and very deliberately tying it all into these emerging sports and Web3 tech trends, even building their own tech layer underneath.
Exactly. The No Backboard hook gets you in the door, but the real substance seems to be in that interconnected system. The training feeds the content sells product and boosts athletes. Athletes bring in NIL deals and more attention. The community grows. And it's all underpinned by this forward-looking tech strategy, leveraging Web3 concepts.
And that picks and shovels angle, building their own infrastructure, that really does set them apart. They're not just playing in the emerging sports tech space. They're actively building parts of it. It definitely makes you think, doesn't it, about where all this could lead, this intersection of sports, tech, the creator economy. What does this mean for how we engage with sports down the line?
It's a great question to ponder. This deep dive certainly highlights these trends towards decentralization, athlete empowerment, digital integration, community ownership. The NBBL, whether it fully succeeds or not, its vision and its multi-layered approach might just be showing us one possible version of what that future looks like.
It definitely gives you food for thought. Own the hoop, own the highlight, own the future. That's their closing line. And after going through all this, it feels like they're genuinely trying to build something that could let people do just that. Very interesting stuff.
No backboard!
No backboards, just sky where we aim. Swish a brick.